Hey, what is up everybody? It's Animac here for Anime Uproar, and now that we know that Joy Boy has returned in the form of Monkey D. Luffy, everyone's been wondering what exactly do we mean when we say that Luffy is Joy Boy? Is Joy Boy an essence or a consciousness that is present within Luffy? Or is he an essence or consciousness that is present within the Nika Devil Fruit? Or was he maybe the original user of the Nika Devil Fruit 800 years ago? Did Luffy inherit Joy Boy's will, whatever that means? Or does Luffy just embody Joy Boy's ideals of freedom and equality? Or is something else going on here? In this video, I will argue that what we know as Joy Boy may actually be one of the notorious ancient weapons. And that Luffy may now be the physical embodiment of that weapon, just like Shirahoshi is the physical embodiment of the ancient weapon Poseidon. You guys know the drill. If you enjoy our One Piece videos and you want us to keep it going, just leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really helps with that YouTube algorithm. And remember that subscribing and hitting that bell is a completely free but very real way of directly supporting the channel. Before we get into it, thank you to Friends and Dragons for sponsoring this video. Friends and Dragons is a free-to-play strategy-based mobile game that is available on the App Store and Google Play. It is a unique combo of hero collection, strategy, and puzzler with a rich fantasy world setting. What makes this game stand out from others is its unique co-op play and its special controls that allow you to pick one hero and then use him to quickly move the rest of the team around the battlefield. It is a really cool way of interacting with your heroes instead of having to move every single one of them one by one. And this unlocks some really interesting strategies and a ton of different gameplay options. The key to crushing it in this game is to collect new and powerful heroes and then to upgrade them. Friends and Dragons has a diverse cast of over 150 heroes to collect. And once you collect them, you can make them stronger by equipping items and upgrading their skills. Friends and Dragons features loads of special limited time events, and these events will reward you with awesome prizes. It's fun, addicting, and rewarding, so check it out right now, link in the description. Download Friends and Dragons for free by clicking the link or scan the QR code on the screen and get a special bonus of 1 free summon, daily energy potions, and gold for free, and an exclusive offer available via my link only, so don't delay, link in the description. Finally, this video will contain One Piece manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution, you have been warned. Okay, so let's start this off in a bit of an unconventional place. Remember that scene inside the Chamber of Flowers in Pangaea Castle when the mysterious Imu-sama is looking at 4 photographs? There is a photo of Luffy, Blackbeard, Shirahoshi, and Vivi. The photos of Luffy and Blackbeard are ripped up, the photo of Shirahoshi is being stabbed through with a sword, and the photo of Vivi appears to be still intact. I think this scene is a lot more important than we even realize, and here's why. On the surface, it makes perfect sense for the Shadow Ruler of the world government to have photos of Blackbeard and Luffy, since these two are famous pirate outlaws who clearly pose a threat to the world government. The reason for including photos of Shirahoshi and Vivi are less obvious, although if Imu-sama is aware that Shirahoshi is Poseidon, then yeah, it's true that Poseidon also poses a major threat to the world government. However, Vivi is really the odd one out here. I mean, sure, she's the princess of a kingdom, but there are like 50 kingdoms being represented at the Reverie. So clearly just being a princess of one kingdom is not the reason why Vivi's photo was included here. The one thing that Vivi and Shirahoshi have in common though is their connection to ancient weapons. Shirahoshi is an ancient weapon, Poseidon, and Vivi is the princess of Alabasta, where another ancient weapon called Pluton is said to be located. Pluton is believed to be somewhere in Alabasta, and from what we know so far, Pluton appears to be a battleship that was created in Water 7 many centuries ago. According to Crocodile, Pluton has the ability to completely destroy an entire island with a single blast. And while there's been a lot of speculation about whether Pluton is really a physical battleship or whether it is actually something more similar to Poseidon, it does appear that Pluton is, at least in part, a physical ship. We know this because the blueprints for building it do exist, and although we don't see them in detail, we are led to believe that these blueprints are real. On one occasion, Frankie shows the blueprints to Lucci and Kaku, who are both skilled shipbuilders, and they appear to recognize them as real. But if Pluton is just a physical battleship that anyone can use, then why would Imu single out Vivi? The answer might lie in the complex history of the Nefertari royal family. The Nefertari family were one of the 20 royal families who came together to create the world government 800 years ago. However, unlike the other royal families, the Nefertari refused to leave Alabasta in order to live as celestial dragons in Merijoa. Now, this might seem like the Nefertari just had a personal preference for staying in their homeland, but the choice that they made is far bigger and more consequential than that. The other royal families see the Nefertari family as traitors for refusing to relocate to Merijoa, and this was confirmed during the Reverie arc. It's likely that they would have been seen as traitors even 800 years ago, and we know how the world government normally deals with traitors. And yet, the Nefertari were left alone, and Alabasta remained a founding member of the world government despite their perceived treachery. This is important because it means that the Nefertari must have had some sort of insurance policy that prevented the world government from punishing them for their decision. Don't forget that even harming one celestial dragon could be enough for the world government to destroy an entire kingdom. And yet, Alabasta was seemingly not punished for betraying the very concept of the celestial dragons. Furthermore, the fact that the Nefertari family has been concealing a poneglyph from the world government again suggests that their relationship with the other royal families was not as friendly as we might think. I think that the reason why the Nefertari were able to defy the other royal families and get away with it was the fact that they were in possession of Pluton and that they could use it against the world government if they ever decided to attack Alabasta. That at least was the case at the beginning, although it seems that the knowledge of where exactly Pluton is and how to use it was lost over time. However, if Imu-sama is still interested in Vivi after all this time, then Vivi, as the current princess of Alabasta and the heir to the Nefertari family, must have some sort of direct connection to Pluton, a connection that probably she doesn't even know about. Even though Pluton appears to be just a really powerful man-made warship, it is possible that not just anyone can use it, even if they could find it. What if the Nefertari royal bloodline holds the key to actually using Pluton, just like Shirahoshi holds the key to using Poseidon? If that were the case, and if Vivi was actually instrumental in activating Pluton, then Imu-sama taking a special interest in Vivi makes perfect sense. And from everything we know so far about the mysterious events that ultimately occurred at the Reverie, it is clear that the Nefertari family and Alabasta have been profoundly affected. After that scene with Imu and the photos, we are led to believe that a death occurred at the Reverie as well as an attempted murder. We don't get to see what exactly happened, but we do get to see the reactions of many people as they react to the news being reported by the World Economy newspaper. By the way, this is news that the world government tried to hush up, but Big News Morgans decided to report it anyway. The news is clearly about Sabo, at least in part, and the revolutionaries are both saddened and shocked to learn what happened. Inside the Goa kingdom, the king and queen are in disbelief, and both Makino and Dadan are in tears. The implication is clearly that Sabo may have died off-screen. But this doesn't make much sense. Why would Oda go through all that trouble of bringing Sabo back and having him consume Ace's devil fruit, only to then kill him off-screen? I mean, that would be insane. It is important to mention that in the anime in particular, this big news is shown to be especially tragic for the people of Alabasta, who are clearly distraught and in mourning. This implies that whatever happened at the Reverie clearly involves the Nefertari royal family. Something either happened to King Cobra or Princess Vivi, or both. This suggests that after that scene with the photos, Imu-sama may have made a move against the Nefertaris, possibly because of their connection to Pluton. If I had to guess, I'd say that Cobra may have been killed and Vivi may have been the victim of an assassination attempt, but she was rescued by the revolutionaries. Sabo may then have been falsely accused of killing Cobra and kidnapping Vivi. But if that were the case, then the Alabasta reaction would make sense, but the reactions of the revolutionaries and Makino and Dadan don't really fit. I don't think they would be so shocked and saddened if Sabo had made a clean getaway, even if he was being framed for a terrible crime. The only way their reaction makes sense is if Sabo really did die, or if he was actually captured and arrested for these alleged crimes and is about to be executed. If that second part is true, then it seems way too similar to what happened to Ace. But at the same time, this would be a surefire way to lure Luffy into a trap and force a showdown between him and the world government, so we'll have to wait and see. Either way, I'm willing to bet that both Sabo and Vivi are alive and that they wouldn't be killed off screen. As far as Cobra goes though, he was probably the one who was killed. And if he was killed because of the Nefertari connection to Pluton, then we have to go back to those 4 photos. If Shirahoshi is Poseidon and Vivi is Pluton, or at least connected to it in some fundamental way, then could Luffy and Blackbeard also be connected to ancient weapons? The third weapon that we know about is Uranus, although its name is literally the only thing that we know about it. And yes, I know that in English Uranus is also pronounced as Uranus, but since I'd rather not keep saying that over and over again, I'll just use Uranus. Oh, when people start complaining about this in the comments, then I'll pull a real Chad move and just start using the ancient Greek pronunciation from now on. URANUS. Anyway, we know that all 3 ancient weapons bear the names of Greek gods. Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea, storms, earthquakes, and horses. Pluton, the Greek god of the earth, land, and the underworld. And Uranus, a primordial god who is the personification of the sky and the father of the Titans. I often see people saying that Pluton actually comes from the Roman god Pluto, but no, the word Pluton originates in Greek mythology, where it was used as another name for Hades. The Roman Pluto actually comes from the Greek Pluton. According to Robin, even in the world of One Piece, all 3 weapons were named after a god. But since this is a world that is different from our own, these gods may also be different from the gods we know from ancient Greece. That said, the Uranus from Greek mythology is currently our best hint for what this ancient weapon might actually be. Clearly, it is associated with the sky and the heavens, and sky-related things like rain and wind. But what if Uranus is also associated with another celestial god in the world of One Piece, the sun god Nika? Sun god Nika is a mythical warrior who was worshipped by slaves as a sun deity since ancient times. The slaves prayed that sun god Nika would one day come and liberate them. It was later revealed that there is a mythical zone devil fruit called the Hitohito no Mi model Nika, which is of course the true name of Luffy's devil fruit. The Gorosei were aware of this devil fruit's existence, and the world government has been trying to capture it for centuries, but they never succeeded. It was as if this devil fruit had a will of its own, and like it was actively running away from the world government. Now, it seems that the Gorosei didn't think that the Nika fruit was an immediate threat because it hadn't awakened in over 800 years. The last time this fruit was fully awakened was all the way back during the Void Century, and so the Gorosei assumed that as long as the Nika fruit isn't awakened, they would be safe. However, the Gorosei eventually changed their approach and they ordered Luffy's immediate execution. At the end of chapter 1043, Luffy seemingly dies, but he is brought back to life as his devil fruit awakens. In that moment, Zunesha proclaims that Joy Boy himself has returned. After his devil fruit awakening, Luffy unlocks an absolutely ridiculous new power that allows him to basically turn reality into Toon World. And his power at this point can definitely be compared with the power of a god. Now, the fact that the Nika fruit hadn't awoken since the Void Century reminded me a lot of Poseidon, the ancient weapon which awakens within a person, the mermaid princess, but not every mermaid princess. Poseidon only awakens once in several centuries, and the same appears to be the case for Joy Boy and the Nika devil fruit. And of course, Pluton hasn't been seen since the Void Century either, meaning that just like Shirahoshi and Joy Boy, Pluton may be a power that must be first awakened before it is used, and this is only possible once in several centuries. So what if Joy Boy is the ancient weapon Uranus, and it is only awakened when multiple specific conditions are met? One of these conditions is that Poseidon must also be awakened, and perhaps Pluton as well, but we just don't know that yet. Another condition is that the right person must be in possession of the mythical Nika devil fruit. So if the wrong person has the fruit, it will just be the Gomu Gomu no Mi. It will not awaken just like it didn't for 800 years. There might even be some connection to the D clan. Maybe the Nika Devil Fruit must be in possession of a member of the D clan in order to awaken, and if it isn't, then it simply won't work. Just like Poseidon only awakens within members of the Ryugyu royal family, and just like Pluton is likely connected to the Nefertari royal family, Uranus could be connected to the D clan. This would explain why the D clan are considered to be the natural enemies of the celestial dragons. Technically, anyone from this clan could activate Uranus under the right circumstances, and if Uranus, Poseidon, and Pluton are all activated at the same time, they would likely have the power to destroy the world government and overthrow the celestial dragons. And this would certainly explain why the Gorosei suddenly decided that Luffy must be killed at all costs. He had to be killed before his Devil Fruit awakened and Joy Boy, aka Uranus, was activated. And if Joy Boy really is the ancient weapon Uranus, it would lend further credence to the theory that the artificial Devil Fruits known as Smiles were an attempt to recreate the Nika mythical zone Devil Fruit, which is of course a key ingredient in activating the Joy Boy ancient weapon. After all, 90% of those who consume a Smile Devil Fruit end up as failures. Not only will they not receive any special power from the fruit, but they will be condemned to laugh uncontrollably for the rest of their lives. Knowing how joy and laughter is associated with the Nika Devil Fruit, it's almost like these failures become dark and inverted versions of the true Joy Boy. So is this the missing piece? Are Joy Boy and Sun God Nika synonymous with the third ancient weapon, Uranus? If this were the case, then 3 of the photos that Imusama had in her possession were related to ancient weapons. Shirahoshi is Poseidon, Vivi is Pluton, or she is the only one who can activate it due to her royal bloodline, and Luffy is Uranus. But then what about the 4th photo, Blackbeard? One argument could be that maybe Uranus, once activated, has an effect on every single D clan member, not just Luffy. So maybe they will all become stronger now, including Blackbeard. But if that was the explanation, then surely Dragons and Lost photos would have been there as well. I think that the reason why Blackbeard's photo was included is directly related to Rocks D. Zebek and God Valley. The God Valley incident was a major event that took place 38 years ago, and the truth about what happened was strictly hushed up by the world government. Today, only the older generations of Marines are even aware of this incident. Rocks D. Zebek, who is considered to be perhaps the greatest rival of Gold D. Roger, had assembled an incredibly powerful pirate crew that consisted of a young Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom, among other heavy hitters. Together with this crew, Zebek declared war against the world government, and he set out to make himself the king of the world, which means that he was determined to straight up overthrow the celestial dragons. The Rocks pirates were infamous and fearsome, and they were clearly a massive threat to global stability. One day 38 years ago, Zebek and his crew attacked a remote island known as God Valley. In chapter 957, Sengoku gives us a quick overview of what happened. And it seems that at the time of Zebek's attack, multiple celestial dragons were present on the island of God Valley. Sengoku doesn't specify how many celestial dragons were present or which ones were actually there. We just know that some of them were on the island along with their slaves. It is possible that these were high-ranking world nobles, such as the Gorosei, because in order to defeat Zebek and to protect the celestial dragons, the world government resorted to an unprecedented act. They agreed to work together with Gold D. Roger in order to take Zebek down. Garp and Roger did the heavy lifting in this fight, and after Zebek was defeated, the Rocks pirates were dissolved. The truth about this entire incident was then heavily censored by the world government, and the island of God Valley itself vanished from the face of the earth. We don't know how or why it vanished, but now it is gone and it cannot even be found on any map. By the way, it's important to state that this wasn't an instance of the world government calling in a buster call to blow up everything on the island. In Sengoku's own words, the island wasn't blown up with a buster call, the island disappeared entirely. This is creepy, but also intriguing. Okay, so knowing what we know about the God Valley incident, what is the missing piece here? What were high-ranking celestial dragons doing on some remote island in the middle of nowhere? These people never seem to stray far from their holy land unless something drastic occurs, so what drove them to visit God Valley? Furthermore, why would Xebec attack this one island rather than taking the fight to Marijua itself? I mean, even if he took down a few celestial dragons on this island, the battle to overthrow the world government would be far from over. Finally, why would Garp and Goldie Roger risk their lives to protect a bunch of celestial dragons from Xebec? I mean, even if we say that Garp did it because he was obligated to do so by his position, Roger certainly had no obligation to protect the world nobles. In my opinion, all of this only makes sense if we insert a missing piece that ties it all together. A secret weapon of incredible power, perhaps even one of the ancient weapons themselves. The celestial dragons may have gone to God Valley to either locate or test a game-changing, overpowered weapon, since that is something that they definitely wouldn't do anywhere near their holy land. Xebec may have attacked because he wanted to steal this weapon and use it to bring down the world government and become king of the world. Roger and Garp decided that allowing Xebec to steal the weapon was just too dangerous. So they teamed up to stop him, not because they wanted to protect the celestial dragons, but because they wanted to protect the rest of the world from Xebec. The world government covered everything up, not only because they didn't want the world to know that Roger helped them, but also because they didn't want anyone to find out about this ultimate weapon. In fact, they may have even used the weapon to wipe God Valley out of existence. Oh, and back when Doflamingo said that he knows about the hidden treasure of Marijua, he may have been referring to this very weapon. So, the reason why Blackbeard's photo appears alongside the photos of Shirahoshi, Vivi, and Luffy could be because he found out about this top secret weapon and is trying to retrieve it. Or maybe he managed to retrieve it already, and that is why his devil fruit is so unique, and why he can use more than one devil fruit at the same time. The Yami Yami no Mi may itself be this secret weapon, and just like the Nika fruit, its true name and true nature may be something completely different from what we initially thought. We actually have an entire video here on the channel about the possibility that the Yami Yami no Mi is actually a mythical zone devil fruit just like Luffy's. So if you want to check that out, I will link it in the description. At any rate, if my theory about a secret weapon at God Valley is correct, then the big question is, what was this weapon? Was it the Yami Yami no Mi itself? Was it one of the 3 known ancient weapons? Was it a 4th secret ancient weapon? Or was it something else? Teching 101 had an interesting theory about God Valley maybe being the homeland of real dragons. The celestial dragons went there in order to acquire and train their dragons, and Xebec tried to take control of all the dragons in order to use them to attack Marijua from the air. This is a fascinating theory, although if true, I certainly hope that at least some of the dragons survived. It would kind of suck if we got an epic God Valley flashback only to learn that yup, all those cool dragons died and we'll never see them again. Just a side note, subscribing to Teching 101 is basically a requirement for every diehard One Piece fan, and I strongly recommend it. Personally, I really like the idea of the 4 photos that Imu was holding representing 4 ancient weapons, one of which may be so secret that hardly anyone even knows about it. If I were to guess what a 4th ancient weapon might be, I would say Chaos, also known as the Great Void that predates all other existence, even the existence of the gods themselves. In Greek mythology, Chaos is what gave birth to everything else, including darkness itself, so there's a connection to the Yami Yami no Mi. Also, if anything could make an entire island just disappear into the void, it would certainly be the power of Chaos. Historically, Chaos has been visually represented by a variety of symbols, including a sun-like sphere with an eye, hands, and feet, a serpent or dragon, and various types of spirals. Chaos could be directly related to the true nature of Blackbeard's devil fruit, and Chaos might be what Xebec was looking for at God Valley. Chaos may also be what Blackbeard is looking for right now, or what he has already found, and that is why he caught the attention of Imu-sama. But let me know what you guys think. What is Uranus, and could it be something directly related to Joy Boy and Sun God Nika? Could there be a 4th ancient weapon out there? A secret ancient weapon that made God Valley disappear into thin air? Finally, what is the connection between Xebec and Blackbeard. Is Blackbeard Zebek's son? Are they some other type of relation, or does Blackbeard's connection to Zebek come down to the fact that they are both looking for the same thing, chaos? Don't forget to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more One Piece content here on the channel, just leave a quick like and comment. It only takes a second, but it really helps me out with that YouTube algorithm. And remember that subscribing and hitting that bell is a completely free but very real way of directly supporting the channel. Thanks again to Friends and Dragons for sponsoring this video. Check them out, link in the description. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.